So the plan here is to use a cattle panel. I'm going to drive some steel posts in the ground, some T-posts in the ground on either side, here and here, and then run a cattle panel up and over, and we'll plant vining crops like tomatoes and cucumbers and that sort of thing on those as a trellis, and we'll put several of these down the row, and that way in the center here we can plant things that are a little more sensitive to getting overheated, like lettuces and strawberries and some things like that a little more sensitive to heat. So this is our garden plot for this year. You can see we already got a little start on it. We were really lucky and we found somebody who had a lot of old hay, been sitting around for several years and already started to rot on them, which is exactly what we were looking for. And then down over here you can see some wood chips. We found a tree trimmer who was in the area, and they came by and dropped off a load for us over there. We'll be using those for walkways and such. So the plan is to get out here and spread down a lot of hay. The method we're going to be using is kind of a modified Ruth Stout. It's a deep mulch. We're putting it about 10-12 inches deep, and then we'll be planting through that onto the ground, and then letting nature take its course. Now these plastic things here are tree protectors. We do have some problems with deer, and so we're putting that in, as you can see, down this row down here, and then down this row here. We have a lot of trees that we put in a couple of years ago. We received several hundred trees from the Department of Natural Resources as part of a pollinator program. And we got about 400 trees in, bare root. Wife and I put them all in around the property. These here are plum and cherry, and they're in rows here and here. And we'll be planting this year anyway, planting our garden in between them. It's kind of a help enrich the soil, help provide some shade for some of the sensitive plants, and help maintain the space in between the trees, help keep down on the weeds. So the idea is to bury the ground in a deep mulch and then plant our whatever we're going to plant in between there. Kind of laid this out. As you can see, we got several rows marked. Straw has already done some work up in there, and it's kind of messed up the string, but as you can see here, we've got a couple of strawberry plants in. We just pulled back the hay till we found dirt, and scraped across it a little bit, made just a very small indentation in the soil below the hay. Set the pot in there so at the bottom of the pot was sitting now on top of the dirt, on top of the old soil, and then backfilled it with hay. And that's how we're going to be working on those potted plants. So the plan here is to use a cattle panel. I'm going to drive some steel posts in the ground, some T-posts in the ground on either side, here and here, and then run a cattle panel up and over, and we'll plant vining crops like tomatoes and cucumbers and that sort of thing on those as a trellis, and we'll put several of these down the row. And that way in the center here we can plant things that are a little more sensitive to getting overheated, like lettuces and strawberries and some things like that a little more sensitive to heat. So the first thing to do is start pounding posts. We have a post driver somewhere. Can't find it, so I'm going to start with a 3-pound sledge and see what happens with that. Well, I got lucky. Wife found the post driver. If you ever want to know where something is, ask the wife. She usually does. If she doesn't, she's real good at finding it. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive this post into the ground. First one you have a lot of leeway where it goes, not so much the others, but first one we're going to put here and right through that straw so we get pounding away. Now, one important tip when you're pounding a post, never take the driver above the white bar. If you do, you got a strong chance of coming down and catching that post and pulling it down on your head, something like this. When you do, it will give you a concussion. I know. It ain't really square, but that's all right. It's good enough. So now we need 4 more, and we'll be back when that gets finished. All right, we got 4 posts in the ground. They're not straight. That's all right. It's good enough. The way I measured this, we have those cattle panels. They're about 4 feet wide, 16 feet long. I wanted them 1 wire in from either side. When I put this up there, white end against one of the wires, the other wire was 8 of these knobs in from this end. So I just pounded a post in and measured, used this as a storage stick, measured from there to 8 knobs up. That's where I pounded the other. Now these may not be directly square, perpendicular to one another. That's okay, that wire will adapt, warp, and if we get it right, it'll be like a Mobius strip, have a Mobius strip terrace. That's for you mathematical nerds out there. Anyway, it'll be good enough. It'll keep them up off the ground and do the job. So get the panel over here, we'll get it set up, show you what it looks like. Be right back. Surprise, surprise. Evidently we got a feral cat who just gave birth in the field. They weren't there yesterday. Right here in the middle everywhere. Out in the open. Don't know what we're going to do with them. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. I'll wait for the wife to come by and we'll make that decision at that time. But that's going to be a big issue. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we're going to have to deal with that. Well, we got the wire fence stretched out. It may look a little off, a little counter, crooked. That's for several reasons. One, it is. And that's because I didn't put the posts in at the same height. Didn't get a level out here and put them at the same height. And so we only have certain discrete positions we can put this. You notice that I put it on top where this bottom wire is resting on top of this knob. That's to keep it from going down. I tied it in with a cable tie. When you're using cable ties outside, you want to use the black ones. They've got carbon in there, that carbon black in there that protects it from the UV. Use the white ones or the colored ones, the UV will degrade them, make them brittle, and they will fall apart on you. The black ones will last a couple of years at least, and maybe even longer depending on where they're located. So to tie this up, I pulled it up off the ground because I want a little space underneath for to get access so we can do some weeding. We can go in there and not have to worry about hitting wires. Also, it gives us a little higher elevation so that I can walk under it a little easier, and gives us just a little more room under the trellis. So I tied these up in 4 corners. The other ones I've already tied to the post, just so it doesn't wobble so much and doesn't fall off while I'm showing you. This one over here, we're going to tie up, and I'm not going to pull it all the way to the top of the post, just about right there. Just about the 4th one up, which is where I have it over there, and it's a little stretch, it's a little tight, so you're You have to stretch it some. That's okay. It's not a problem. It'll loosen up over time. So you notice I'm going around this joint here, and that's to pull it in tight so it doesn't slip up and down or sideways. Pull it in tight. Because this is stretched a little bit, I'm going to use 2 on here. Give it a little extra protection. And I'll cross them over so that they're going in both directions around over that knot, over that joint. Using 8-inch ties, you can probably get by with 6-inch. I don't like to have a bunch of different types of ties on the property just because it makes keeping up with them a little tedious. Again, over one another over that joint. So I keep 8-inch and 4-inch, and those seem to work fairly well. If I need something longer than 8-inch, I can put 2 of them together. It seems to work pretty good. And 4-inch does fairly well as also. Now this one, you notice this post did not line up directly on a wire. That's okay because the others did. That's going to keep it from shifting this way. All we're worried about here is keeping it up against the post and keeping it from going up and down, and these cross piece wires, they'll do that. So we'll come in at the same place, 4th one up, pull it up tight against the post, put your cable tie on, run it up, tighten it up, you're good to go. Again, cross over, put a second one on there, makes a little X-shaped, gives it a little extra support, a little extra pull in. Now because the stress on this is at the top, that's where all the stress trying to pull it out is going to be. I'm going to do the top 2 cross wires and the bottom wire. The bottom wire is there to keep them going up and down. And these other wires hold it up against the post. So these top 2 posts here, if this pulls enough to stretch out these cable ties will help take up the slack, help take up support some. And that's all there is to it. Now all we need to do is plant underneath here in a straw whatever vine type crops we're going to grow. And as they come up, we'll lop them up over this trellis. They'll grow up and over. The fruit will hopefully hang down. And as it ripens, we can walk in here and access it as we need to, and be real easy to pick, real easy to keep track of the plants, any kind of insect problems, just a lot easier to take care of. Gets a little air circulation under the plant to keep out mold, fungus, mildew, and also gives us some shade area under here for more delicate plants that we can plant later on in July and August, and help keep that heat down, help keep moisture in hay. So that's putting up the fence. We've got 3 more of these to do. We're eventually going to take it all the way down as far as we can. I've got 3 right now because Social Security doesn't go very far, and I got to wait till next month before I can buy some more. But that's all we have for today. That's putting up the trellis. If you like what you see, hit that like button, and we'll do more. That's how we determine what type of videos to put out and publish for you. And we are all about our subscribers, so subscribe, like, and get that notification, and we'll see you later. Bye.